Hello guys, welcome to the first ever video on my YouTube channel. There are so many YouTube channels around. So what is the reason why am I making a channel? The reason I'm making a channel is that I have identified a gap in our education system. Our education system worldwide is designed to make us blind followers and is not designed to make us think. Thinking is the most important skill in this world. This is truer today than it has been before. Here on my channel, through my videos, I'm going to teach you how to think properly, critically, with abstract ideas, with data, and with lots of examples. But what do I mean by proper thinking? Let me give you an example. In World War II, American Air Force faced a unique problem. When they were fighting in Europe, the American bomber aircraft were being shot down in huge numbers by German anti-aircraft guns and German Air Force. The solution was to armor the planes, but this is not as easy as it sounds. You cannot armor the entire plane because if you would armor the whole plane, it won't be able to fly because of the weight of the armor. Decision was made to collect data to answer this problem. The data was collected from the returning aircraft from the missions, and the data showed damages to the planes in the form of bullet holes. The data showed that most bullet holes were at the side of the fuselage, towards the motors and towards the tail end. So logically, this is where the armor should go. Problem solved. Well, not so fast and not so logical. Analyzing this data was a research and statistical group which was based at Columbia University, and head of this group was Abraham Wald. Abraham Wald was a mathematician, and this is what Abraham Wald said. He said that armor should go on the parts of plane where there were no bullet holes. Abraham Wald pointed out that instead of looking at the planes that were coming back, we should be looking at the planes that were not coming back. The reason is that they were being hit on the most vulnerable parts, and this is the reason why the data from them was missing. Well, now you can think of it, and it seems pretty straightforward. So how could Abraham Wald think of it and not other people? Although they were more experienced in strategy and military operations than Wald. The reason is that Abraham Wald mastered a specific kind of thinking. That thinking is a mixture of abstract thinking and critical thinking. Abstract thinking is out-of-the-box thinking. Abstract objects are those objects that you cannot touch, that physically don't exist. Some examples of abstract objects are love, any emotion, friendship for example, hatred. You cannot physically envisage them like you would, for example, a concrete object. Concrete objects are those objects that you can touch, that you can feel, that you can kick, like a football for example, like a car. But the ideas or emotions like love for example is not a concrete object. You cannot think of love as a physical entity. What you can think of is a representation of love. That representation is a form of abstraction. All of the great thinkers like Einstein, like Van Gogh, like Steve Jobs, for example, they were all champions of this form of thinking, of abstract form of thinking. But how do you develop this form of thinking? Abraham Lincoln also wanted to think like this, and so to learn that, he started reading the book of Euclid called Elements. Euclid was a Greek mathematician who compiled all of the knowledge of mathematics of his time into a series of books. This form of mathematical reasoning is evident in many of Abraham Lincoln's court arguments and his many famous speeches.
Euclid's first common notion is this: things which are equal to the same thing are equal to each other. That's a rule of mathematical reasoning. It's true because it works. Has done and always will do. In his book, Euclid says this is self-evident.
One of the most abstract and useful entities in this world are numbers. Numbers are everywhere. But can you envisage a number? Let's say for example, I want you to imagine a number 2. You could imagine a number 2 as written in the numeral form. Well, this is a representation of 2 in our language. Or let's say for example you are imagining 2 footballs or 2 cows. But these are objects that possess a property which is 2-ness. but you cannot envisage the number 2. However, we can represent this number 2 in a consistent way, and then we can use it. So I'm starting a series in which I will teach you the concept of numbers. Why am I teaching you this? Well, there are two most important reasons. The reason number one is that numbers in mathematics are the most abstract and consistent system of reasoning that is known to mankind. The second reason is that the number system has wide applications in our world. Numbers and the way I'm going to build them is the mother tongue of science. These are the foundations from which I'm going to build statistics and machine learning in future. So hope you will enjoy this series.